One of the biggest issues with the auto industry today is consolidation of car companies. But usually, when we think of smaller car companies, we think of larger established car companies like Rivian and Polestar. But believe it or not, right now, there are car companies trying to get their foot in the door right now in 2026. Today, it's really easy for us to look back on niche startup car companies of the past, like Coda, who is unsuccessful, and Tesla, who is obviously successful. But what you may not know is there are several small, especially only EV car companies that are currently trying to get their foot in the door, and I'm sure you probably didn't know that one of these existed. Starting off with Telo, a California-based small EV truck company that started off in 2022. Their goal was to make the most efficient small truck. Now, not the cheapest. See, this is an issue with a lot of cars in this list. You get into the mindset of thinking, oh, they're new, they're cheap. No, actually, many of them are new. Many of them are expensive. This is actually a luxury truck maker. And what they're trying to do is they're trying to take something like an F-150, make it nice and wide, that way you have a decent size interior, make it all EV, and build it from the ground up to be an EV. So instead of retrofitting some older car like the F-150 Lightning to be all EV or wasting money on building a car that looks like a car that already exists, why not just start off from scratch and build a truck entirely based on being an EV and cut out all the parts that you don't need? Look at the front of it. It's not K-Truck slim, but it is slim because really when you think about it, for air conditioning and all stuff like that, you don't really need that big of a front grille. You don't really need that big of a hood. There's not a whole lot under there, especially, a lot of times that would be used for inverters and EV related stuff. All that is hidden away elsewhere in the truck because, again, it's designed from the ground up to be an EV. They don't have to cram a bunch of shit into the hood only because it's the only free space available because of the way the frame is constructed. It's built from the ground up on being an EV, so it just doesn't need a hood that big, which means lighter, which means more efficient, which means faster, which means better for you. Alright, starting off with some quirks, starting off with solar. That's right, Telo, again, they're trying to be really efficient. Not quite as efficient as Aptera, another car on this list, but just as efficient as they possibly can get a pickup truck to be. And one of the things that they're doing is solar. And you can get a tonneau cover for your truck, like a shell that you can put over the bed. You can get a shell that you can put over the bed which has solar on it, or you could just get a cover for the bed like a ute with solar panels on it which will charge the car. Again, this truck also starts at around $46,000, which that sounds pretty crazy, but when you realize that the average new price of a new car is like $45,000, it's a big ask for a car this small, but small doesn't mean bad. It's extremely efficient, it's really lightweight, it has a decent sized bed, the interior room is great, the interior quality is nice, even though it may not have leather. Overall, it's a very nice vehicle. Here's me configuring mine. Well, not mine, but if I had to have one, how I personally would choose it, to give you some inspiration if you decide to go with a Telo. Alright, so here we are at the website, just making my way around, building my Telo. I would go with dual motor. Also, unlike the Slate EV, which we're also going to talk about, this has the option for all-wheel drive and long range. You can get all-wheel drive and long range, something you really haven't been able to do on a Tesla for quite some time. They have some really neat colors. I'm really a fan of the orange. The green is also fine, but I think the orange stands out the most. You can also get a blue or a dark gray interior. Personally, I'm a fan of the blue. 350 miles is a really good estimate, again, because they don't have all that stuff to do. Personally, I think the 4-spoke wheels are hideous, so I'd personally go with the 5-spoke wheels, and you have to go with that solar camper shell. That's what it's called. It rounds out the truck, gives it so much character. Overall, I just love this thing. I love the way it looks, love the brown interior. Oh, I did go with the brown. Oh, yeah. It's just excellent, and I would recommend just check one out if you're buying a pickup truck. They're not really cheap, but they are really interesting, and I'm sure they'll become collectible quick. Now we have Slate. Slate is kind of an interesting one. It was launched in 2022, just like Telo, but it's more of an international project. It's an internal project with Rebuild Manufacturing, a manufacturing conglomerate, and they have lots of big backers that are sponsoring this company, like Jeff Bezos, Mark Walter, General Catalyst, that's a venture capital firm, TWG Global, and just lots and lots of backers. And their goal is just to bring cheap EV trucks. But here's the issue. I much prefer Telo over Slate. First of all, Slate, what is it really? To me, it's very corporate. It's more like, oh, let's throw some bread at the people and see if they pick it up. And also, this is a big criticism that I have with the auto industry a lot. they don't give you any options to really make the car any better. Sure, there's a fastback, there's an open air, there's an SUV thing. That's all nice. But you can't get all-wheel drive. You can't do a lot of substantial, actual improvements to the car. Rather, they just nickel and dime you on customization. Customization was a big thing for Scion. You had one trim level and you just added all the options. Now with the internet, that, idea of building your own custom car is more interesting than ever, but the issue is this car is supposed to start sub $20,000 with tax incentives, which means it's a real cheap. Doesn't even have an infotainment system. You bring your own tablet. Doesn't even have speakers in the base trim. Wind up windows. You have to get a kit if you want electronic windows, which is understandable. I love that. I think that's great. But the issue is they nickel and dime you for everything. To prove that, let me start by building mine. Now, again, I'm not saying this is bad. Any competition that can bring the auto industry to their knees, not that I hate the auto industry, I'm just saying it would really make them better if we had some good old-fashioned competition. I love. But Slate is fine, but I really would prefer Telo, in my personal opinion. Alright, I 2x'd it just like I did the other one, but it's going to be a while. So you have to build it. You start off with this base truck, and I think it looks pretty good. I'm going to go with the SUV. The reason is, I know from my Prius video, which you should totally watch, that buying a fastback and getting less room, and when you're trying to put a fridge back there, it doesn't fit, is just a pain. I've always, so why? If it doesn't make any aerodynamic difference, just get the biggest one. I'm getting yellow. Yellow's my favorite color. See, the issue with cars is white is a good color because it repels the sun, but, colors are pretty, and I like colors, and I think that blue looks better on a car, personally. So, to avoid that, I usually get yellow. If I can find a yellow car, I'll buy a yellow car because it repels the sun. It's light enough to repel the sun, but dark enough to still be interesting. Now, technically, I should get white on the top, which would be really nice, but it won't let me do both at the same time. But again, I think us humans would all rather admit that we'd rather have style over function. So I've always thought that cyan, especially this shade of cyan, deep cyan, went really well with yellow, so I got that. Some good old-fashioned racing stripes. I got all the upgrades here. Hey, I'm not the one paying for it. No one is. Yeah, also a lift kit. I really think the lift does a lot for this car. Also, come on, you need some custom grill pieces, even though I think it's going to get removed later on. You need some fun here. Also, the wheels. The alloy wheels, I think silver is the best color. It kind of looks kind of nice without, I just think it adds some luxuriousness to the car, which I think it really could use. Now, here's some stuff like the taillights customization. That crap is not great, but, that's fine if you want to do that, but it's literally kind of the whole identity of the car. Also, you can expect these to top out at high 40s, low 50s. This is a lot of stuff. That is expensive. Yeah, so I'm just adding stuff here. Again, every single piece of tech is nickel and dimed all the way. Again, that's not a criticism. They can do whatever they want. It's their company. I'm just saying, don't take this the wrong way. Don't take this as, the poor people. We should make a car that's $40,000 and have all the features. I'm just saying this seems a little bit aggressive for standard features. I do think the customization aspect would be neat in today's car market, like Toyota and Honda. They've all got standard, rigid trim levels, which I think are fine. I'm not one of the, I hate conforming. It's they're fine trim levels, but I think, customization like this would be neat to see. I would also see that a lot of these, this is another issue, with a Toyota Camry LE, the XLE is always going to hold its value better. With this, it's what if someone picks a green interior with brown accents like I did? You're going to be like, hell no, I don't want that. What if it's mushy peas green and, poo-poo brown? Who is going to want that? They also have these little slatelets, which are, little charms that you can add. Overall, really neat car company for designing, but driving, not so much. Alright, moving on, this is Canoe. Now, if you know a lot about me, you may know what my opinion on this car, so just take a guess. I think this is the sickest thing I have ever seen. I think this thing is totally awesome. Okay, let me give you some background. It started in 2017. It's now defunct, but someone bought the IP and a bunch of the tooling and stuff. So maybe we'll see Canoe. If you see a Tesla Cybertruck minivan, you know where it came from. Canoe was started by a former BMW CEO, Ulrich Cons, and it was founded in 2017. Also was founded by a ex-bank owner. It was renamed Canoe in 2019. It was originally called, what was it called? It was something crazy. Skateboard. What was it called? It was electricity or something, but spelled really weird. The idea was to say, Evolaticity. I can't even say it. Anyway, the goal was just to make vans. They were going to make one platform. They were going to engineer this one platform, make it body on frame, and make a bunch of these cars on that. And that was neat. And they were going to get a contract with Amazon, but then they ran out of money, man, a lot of people review this car. This was like Coda back in the day. You'll find New York Times articles about Coda, a car company we never saw. And I'm kind of sad about Canoe. Again, not just because I like competition, which is good. I think competition would be the best thing for the auto industry at this point in time. But also because I would laugh my ass off if I saw one of these driving by my car. And I think this is a good idea. I mean, it's a little flat, not very aerodynamic, but for like delivery vans in small rural areas, give that thing some ground clearance, make a cross-country trim level, make a truck, which I see there. I would jump head over heels for a Canoe, but I'd get the van. No one's getting a truck. Like, the van just looks so good. Why would you even want the truck? Yeah, so it's a neat company. Do like a little bit of research. You can't really buy them, which is very unfortunate, but hey, someone bought the IP, someone bought the tooling. Who knows where it's headed? I think we all know where it's headed, probably nowhere, but you want to know what? We can have hope. Next is Aptera. It was founded in 2006, and they really they are trying to make the most efficient car ever. And see, well, all these EV companies, like Tesla, they promised like what was it, the truck they were going to make, the big, the long hauler, the Tesla semi truck. They make the hype and then try and develop the car. Aptera got initial hype, but now they're just sitting in the background, perfecting their recipe, ready to launch on the day when they feel confident enough to launch this car. Now, in terms of design, they are not rebels without a cause. Again, their job, what they're trying to do is make the most efficient EV possible, with solar utilizing every single thing to their disposal. So the reason why it's shaped like, I can't even come up with a reason why it's shaped like, not a reason, but I can't come up with, like, describe this shape to me. What is it, like lemon but skinny? Like how do you describe that? Like sandfish skink. Look up, I'll put sandfish skink. Looks like that. Like, well, I don't know. But anyway, the goal is to be aerodynamic. The goal is not to have any blunt, square, boxy, fat part of the car just hanging out in front. It's designed to be smooth, again, be as efficient as possible. Because a lot of people, what they mistake is some car companies are just for one niche. They'll say, oh, well, this car would be great if only it was a little bit thicker, if only it had a little bit more interior room. Well, Aptera is just trying to make the most efficient vehicle, EV. So they're going to do everything that will get them to that. So even if you prefer, I wish it had 8 seats and it was a family SUV, not everything's for you. A lot of people say, oh, well, Aptera, the styling's so weird. Why can't they just style it normal? Well, they're trying to get to an objective here, and hey, they've been more successful than most other companies I've seen. Alright, now I have to be fair. I just talked up the efficiency of this car. I can't possibly move to the end of the video without telling you the efficiency of this car. Now, here's where we get into something, a disclaimer. Aging Wheels, which is a very EVE guy. He collects a lot of cars. He's a real neat guy. I really think you should subscribe to him. If you like this channel, then you might want to subscribe for me, because he's way better than I am and I can't even compete. But he's in EVs and I'm in gas cars, so we'll stay in our lane. And I know, he's really worried that I'll move into his lane, because I'll just steal so many of his viewers. Anyway, he's a great guy. He's great. Anyway, watch his video on the Aptera if you want to know all the efficiency stuff. But because this is mainly a gas car channel, I have converted it to miles per gallon, MPGE, which is essentially you take kilowatt hour, like whatever you're doing, whatever measurement you're using, and then you convert it into miles per gallon. It's MPGE because it's been converted from an EV and not a gas car. Like, technically Toyota Priuses have an MPGE because there's also an electric version of that, which is estimated you know what I'm saying, but it doesn't really count then because you're not just counting the motor. Anywho, they have been able to achieve 337 at the top miles per gallon. Imagine if your car had 337 miles per gallon. That would be like the best car in history. So all these sacrifices may make a lot of sacrifices in a car, which is not really, apparently, according to this review, but they do make for a really, really, really efficient car. And also, I think this one, see, the other two are cars that you would actually be able to drive. Like, I'm not saying Aptera is, like, unrealistic, but I'm saying I bet it'll be a few years before I see an Aptera on the road and someone just driving an Aptera, especially in my neighborhood of, like, South Florida. I highly doubt that will happen. But it is by far the most impressive on this list in terms of stuff. Like, the Telo's neat. It's like, oh, let's make a K-truck, but for America. And Slate is fine. Oh, let's make a truck, but worse and cheap. It's like, let's make a cheap truck. That's neat. But Aptera is really doing the efficiency here. Canoe. Oh, let's make a van, but it looks weird. Really, I don't really get the selling point for Canoe. For Canoe, it's like, yes, let's make a van. Let's make it small and make it an EV. No one has ever thought of that before. Anyway, great company, Aptera. They're trying as hard as they can, and really, they very successful, wonderful. The efficiency is out of this world. Alright, well, as we gaze into the wonderful 2010s 4:3 aspect ratio, oh wait, you can't tell because I'm probably going to zoom it in, or I might not, just because I mentioned 4:3, Subaru, Impreza in red, 2.5i limited, I think, driving down this road. Let's reflect. So, you want to... Car companies, I complain and bitch in this seat all day about how we need more competition because capitalism without competition is what we have now. It's just garbage. It's the EV Toyota Highlander, just crap. And I'm not saying that because the EV Toyota Highlander is a bad idea, which personally, because I'm biased and I'm not the biggest EV fan, especially when we're just taking regular cars and just making them EVs. Why? It's the worst way to make an EV. It's not even, like, EVs that are meant to be an EV are 1,000 times more efficient in terms of space and everything than gas cars that are converted to EVs are, because there's this big trunk, but you can't put the battery in the trunk. You need to put the battery on the floor. So let's just hack away at the frame. I mean, it's just such a pain. Anywho, I literally forgot what I'm saying. Again, we need competition. And these car companies, well, they're all EV. You're not going to see small gas car companies, starting up because a lot of people don't think it's the future. And a lot of investors, which is really, a lot of people have opinions that they can't express because they never get an investor to invest in their product, for better or for worse. That's largely why most of these are EVs, because they see it's the future and investors don't want to invest in old technology reformulated. They don't want to invest in the wheel 2, which is slightly square this time. You know what I'm saying? So that's why they're mostly EVs, but they are genuinely bringing competition to the auto industry. Now, are they feeling it right now? No. But I will tell you something. Are Polestar, Rivian, and what's the other one? Oh, Polestar, Rivian, and Lucid, those 3 EV car companies that started off just very similar. They just got a bunch of hype. Lucid, I did a little studying on them for college. Their business is managed terribly. Anyway. Lucid, they are all really taking some market share away from Tesla in terms of EVs. They're fighting on the front lines in terms of, it's not Toyota with the EV Highlander or electric Boogaloo. It's not them with their stupid, crappy ideas, or Subaru who just copies off of everything that Toyota does. It's these companies who are genuinely, and are they doing it right now? No. But in 10 years, could Telo probably steal some market share away from the Ford F-150 Lightning, which is already canceled? Hopefully, that thing's a total piece of shit, but all I'm saying is, give the flowers some time, and eventually they will grow. So with that, thank you for watching. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe on this video. And if you like any of these vehicles, check them out. Just keep your vehicle for a little bit longer, wait until they go on sale, pre-order, wait 5 years, and then boom, you got a car. I'm being dramatic. Goodbye.